What's up, my boomers? It's me, Melanie Mac, here on my new channel, Melanie Mac Go Boom. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. So, on today's video, I'm going to talk about the GTA 5 remaster. Now, when it comes to remasters and things like that, I think for fans, we like to see accuracy. It's extremely important. So in this case, there is some sort of removed content that was deemed transphobic to some people. I don't know all of it. I'm not particularly a GTA fan. I've played GTA 5 back when it first dropped, so yeah, I don't know the full extent of it, but I kind of wanted to dive into it and see. Now, before I really dive into that, now speaking of actual remasters and things like that, and game companies actually trying to make fans happy, before I talk about the topic of the day, can we just celebrate this right now? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge will bring back voice actors from the classic 1987 animated TV series when it's released this summer. What is this, man? I quote tweet as a gaming company making fans happy by giving us what we want. What a concept. You know, it's just like, this is what we need more of. This is what we need in the gaming space. We need these developers to actually think, well, how can we make this, how can we bring even more fan service? How can we make fans even happier? How can we make this even more, like, how can we up the nostalgia here? Oh, I know. Let's bring back the 80s voice actors. As if I couldn't be more excited for this game as I already have been. I mean, you got everything from the art style is so charming. It's so representative. It's like a modernized, like, little updated version, but it's still very, you know, it still has the very colorful, the same vibe that we've gotten from, you know, the older games and the whole, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like, animated atmosphere, all that kind of stuff. This is just very, very good. This is what we need more of, man. This is what we need. And so, yeah, I made this tweet because it's like, yeah, it's, we need more of that. So anyway, let me go ahead and actually get to today's topic. So, GTA 5 Remastered, which is now out on next-gen consoles, has seemingly removed many negative depictions of trans people from the game, including NPCs, an arcade item, and transphobic character dialogue. I'd be curious to see what said dialogue and stuff like that. Let's see what Ricky... Let's see. Oh my gosh. Ricky's the best. Alright, so this is one of the things I found on Reddit, which it looks like is a figure, an action figure in the game where you can interchange the genitalia. All right, this looks to me like what is this, a wrestler or a space person? It's a space person and you can choose the genitals. I don't personally find that offensive. I don't see how that's transphobic. It's like looks like a drag queen to me. And drag queens aren't representative of transgender people. They are purposefully over the top caricatures of whoever they're trying to portray, whatever person that they've made up. So to me, this is just funny. Oh, look, funny, a character, an action figure that you can change out their junk. That's how I see it, but I don't know. Now, let's see what the comments have to say. I have a question to the people complaining that it's getting removed. Have you talked to Rockstar to know the reason for removing this, or are you just complaining without knowing the reason? Did they say they removed this specifically because trans people complained? You sure? Doesn't matter what the reason is. It's bullcrap. The GTA games have always made fun of everyone. Either all of it is okay or none of it is. I honestly kind of agree with this. I think when it comes to humor and things like that, it should all be fair game. And when you think about Rockstar, they used to be so controversial on purpose. You know, think of like South Park. They made fun of everybody, dude. Everybody. And it was, yeah, if that's not your thing, don't play it. Just kind of like how South Park is like that. That's not your thing, don't watch it. I know tons of Christians who won't watch South Park, for example. I think it's funny. And what I like about it is that it's just funny. All is fair game. I like that. And I feel like, we had that with gaming with Rockstar, but not so much anymore. So when you start removing that, then yeah, when it comes to comedy, I feel like we can't put too much limitations on comedy. I just don't think so. And in this case, when everybody is being made fun of, well, then that's fair. I think that's pretty fair. But that's just me. I don't know all the jokes that were said or anything, but just from my first impression, I love all the people getting mad at this as if it actually changes anything about the game. See, there's always people who say stuff like that. It does. It really does. When a huge part of GTA was to be very edgy. Well, when it first, like, especially when GTA first came out, it was very edgy. And a lot of people, it got some backlash for that, but they didn't care. But now I think GTA is kind of like, I don't know, the woke get to pick and choose what they find offensive and what they don't, and what they find acceptable and what they don't. And I guess they're fine with everything except for what they want to pick and choose now. Oh, but it doesn't change anything. It does, because it completely changes the mood of everything. It's supposed to be offensive. You're supposed to play the game and run into some segments and go, did they actually say that? Did they really do that? Oh no. And that's supposed to be about pretty much everything too, not just, a specific set of people that they're making fun of. So yeah, look, I thought Rockstar was the edgy gaming company. What happened? Exactly. And so whenever you see such an edgy company who makes fun of everybody, who's very offensive, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, this is too offensive, we gotta remove it now. It does change. It changes a lot. That's my opinion on it. I just feel like when it comes to humor, all should be fair game. And to my knowledge, the characters were drag queens in the game, and drag queens aren't transgender people inherently. I know some transgender people do drag, but drag queens aren't supposed to represent transgender people in the first place. They are these over-the-top caricatures of characters they made up. So, I don't know. That's that. Let me just go ahead and get into some recent comments from my recent videos. Name K-Man says, the hair looks great, very punk rock. Thank you so much. That means a lot, because the whole punk rock vibe is my fave. And so for my natural hair to convey that just makes my day. Julian says, Melanie, have you watched Jordan Peterson's breakdown of Genesis? It's an amazing lecture series and honestly is responsible for my return to the church. A serious time commitment, but worthwhile. I haven't, but I do like some of Jordan Peterson's takes that I have seen. I think there may be some that I don't necessarily agree with, but that's fine. I definitely want to check this out, though, so I will do so. Thank you so much for suggesting it. I'm glad that helped bring you back to church. I think that's awesome. All right, Max says, I'm a stone cold atheist, and the constant whining over Pratt being Christian, having his convictions, and daring to love his wife absolutely disgusts me. Chris Pratt is a perfectly decent human being as far as one can tell, and that's exactly what the indoctrinated mob hates about him. So true. Lunar says, just letting you know, the Bible verse at the end of your videos was the main reason I subscribed. Thank you. Keep up the good work. You're a light that is definitely needed. John 15:18. If the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. And your natural hair is your glory. Don't hate on it. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. April says, I just watched the clip. This was for the Thor Love and Thunder when it had that little dialogue between them. So that's it. That's the big controversy. Thor was effing with Star-Lord, like friends do. Not sure why this is even being discussed, right? It's just like any sort of joke. They just, people just want to conflate it to these extremes, or guys being friends, girls being friends. it automatically means that they're dating, and especially guys and girls being friends. But it's just like, I don't know. But I think in the comics though, isn't Star-Lord canonically bi now? I don't know the whole. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't know. All right, Joby says, gay man here, and I love Chris Pratt. I don't think I've ever heard Chris Pratt being homophobic. Yeah, I don't think I have either. Marvel changing Star-Lord to be bi is so current year. And current year is the worst year. Keep up the great work, Melanie. Electric hair and all. We still love you. Thank you, Joby. Love you too. That was so nice of you. Thank you. And very good points made. Gene Zero says, you say that if the hate mobs don't stop with the cancellations, we will see more overcompensation. I think that is exactly what they want, since that would validate their attitude, and they can pretend they were right all along. I pray that the people speaking against the mob won't fall for it. I've been seeing that happen, and it doesn't help. Ideology and groupthink are the enemies of critical thought and freedom of speech, regardless of which side it's coming from. I think this is a good point as well. Like I said in my last video, I do feel like there is some sort of overcompensation against the woke mob. That I'm seeing some things said on social media and stuff that is like, oh, okay, maybe this is a little racist, or maybe this is actually a little sexist or homophobic or whatever it may be. And I feel like there are certain people that have been standing up against the woke mob so much, and they're so sick of it that they're almost overcompensating in some ways. There was one person in particular that made a tweet yesterday, or was it yesterday or the day before? That was a big yikes. Just straight up said on Twitter, hey, I've been around X group of people. Okay, let's just say a certain country of non-white people. I'm not going to call them out specifically. People know who I'm talking about probably, but, and I hate them. They don't like Americans. They don't like white people. Or I don't want to paraphrase it wrong. I don't want to, but basically it was just like, wow, so you're hating a whole nationality of people because of your experiences with who you've interacted with. It's like, wow, that take was like, okay, wait a minute, reel it back. Reel it back. We cannot be giving woke people that kind of material, okay? Just don't. Now, this isn't a comment, but I did want to point this out because I saw this on my Facebook feed, and I thought it was so neat, especially when in my recent video talking about Pedro Pascal and how he didn't prepare for Joel, his role playing Joel, and people are like actually defending him, like, oh, he just doesn't want to recreate that. He wants to be his own person. He doesn't want to accidentally like not make it his own. Well, look at this. Before returning as Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Hayden Christensen watched the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels to prepare. In a world of Pedro Pascal's, be a Hayden Christensen. You love it. You love to see someone actually care. And you're an actor. You should be able to do your research and still make it your own thing. Come on now. I can't believe this people even had any sort of defense for Pedro on this. Now, I want to jump into verse of the day. As you can see, I picked 4. Now, there's a reason. Now, this is my favorite verse, and I have mentioned this before, but there's a different perspective I'm bringing into it today. So, I was on TikTok yesterday, and a lot of TikTok videos I get recommended to me are like Christian ones, because I like to watch a lot of those. And I believe that God really uses a lot of people on TikTok to share his word, and also just different interpretations and stuff that you don't always hear. And one thing that he said, which I wish I remembered who it was because I would share it. Now, granted, I did see some of his other interpretations on stuff that I don't agree with, but this one I thought was great. And so it really changed my perspective on a lot of things. Now, he was talking about God's will in our lives. And like, that's something we're constantly always, like us as believers are always second guessing, is like, am I on the right path? Am I doing God's will right now? Is this God's will for me? What do I do? And it's so confusing all the time just to think, I don't want to do the wrong thing. I don't want to slip up. I want to do God's will. How do I know? God, I need you to tell me. God, tell me, do I do this or do I do that? Tell me what I do. And a lot of times we're not getting that answer. Now, there are some times where God will show us. I mentioned that even in my last video of a specific instance. However, what he said really put a lot into perspective. And he's like, God is in you, okay? God is in your heart. And God is a part of you. And if you are focusing on your faith, and if you have faith, and if you are, living for God, then just keep going. God will guide you. It reminded me of like that footprints in the sand picture that a lot of us know. God is with us. And so obviously there are many situations where we can veer on the wrong path. But if we are strengthening our faith, and if we are making a priority, making God a priority in our lives, and trying our best, then yeah, you're not going to be like, whoops, accidentally went against God's will there. It's not going to happen. Now, there's going to be things in our lives that are good and bad that happen. Some bad things that are not that we can't prevent. Because we're human, and also everybody else is human. Sin has entered the world, so things aren't perfect. But in terms of being where God wants us to be at that time, if your eyes are on God and God is in your heart, hey, God's walking with you, and God will get you through things. And I've been in my head about stuff, I'm telling you, over the past couple years where I have felt like there are certain instances where God isn't letting me fail, where I think, oh, you know what? I should fail in this. Or when I think about things like dating, for example. Now, whenever I've like dabbled in dating a little bit, but not a whole lot, since being single the past couple years. But I am the type of person that is just kind of like all or nothing. I'm either not interested at all whatsoever, and so therefore I won't date somebody I'm not interested in. Or if I'm actually dating somebody, then that means I am very interested, and like that is just like probably too interested too soon. So my thing with that is I'm always worried about, well, crap, I don't want to like get with the wrong person and all that kind of stuff, because I get too invested too quick, and I like fall for someone. If I don't fall for someone easily, but if I like somebody, I'm all in, man. And so it just makes me scared about that kind of stuff. But there have been times where, the little bit I have dated, where the person that I've dated wasn't right for me ultimately at the end of the day, because things didn't pan out, where I've seen where it's almost been like divine intervention. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, okay, well, by my own will alone, I could have messed up in this situation, or I could have kept it going longer than it should, but I feel like I just had my clear-cut answers. And I'm like, man, I'm not getting bamboozled. I'm actually catching stuff, I'm catching stuff, and it's definitely not from me, It's like, if I'm like, well, wait a minute, this person ain't for me. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like how their behavior here, or this or that. It's just been so conclusive. I have not had any, and so I'm just like, this is God. This is God not letting me fail in this area right now, because it's just been obvious. It has been so obvious. And for me, that's not, for someone who falls so quickly and who can fall for someone so quickly, and just to know. I feel like I've just known. Not at first, but after however long it takes, even just a couple weeks, I'm like, wait a minute, nope, this person ain't for me. And even if I'm invested, and even if it's like makes me sad to just be like, nope, okay, gotta cut this off, I still do it because it's so conclusive, I can't deny it. And I feel like that's because I have been focusing so much on my walk with God and drawing closer to God and making that a priority in my life. Because before, when I kind of turned my back on my faith and stuff, then things weren't so conclusive for me in that area or any other area. But I feel like discernment is huge. But let me go ahead and read these verses before I ain't trying to make this all about my dating life. Or mostly lack thereof. Because I'm telling you, I've been thinking like, dude, I've been single for 2 years just about. And I've not gotten into like a relationship, even though there were even though I've been dating, and that's my goal, is a relationship. I don't do casual dating. But anytime anybody has like caught my interest at all, it's very short-lived. It's very, oh wait, I get my conclusive answer right away. So I thank God for that, even though it sucks sometimes. It's like, dude, it sucks sometimes to be like, this didn't even go anywhere, man. This didn't even go anywhere. I'm not even getting anywhere with anything. But better that than to waste your time. So God is not letting me fail in this department. God is like, even if God is like, hey, you know what? You walked into this dating this person who clearly wasn't for you. It's fine. I'll show you. It's fine. I'll show you sooner rather than later and before you get that invested. So it's like, okay, thanks, Jesus. So anyway, here's Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Now, I've read this before. It's my favorite verse. And then knowing everything getting that different perspective that I saw yesterday on TikTok, really made me think of this in a different perspective as well. Because it's like, God is with you wherever you go. God's like, keep going. Well, don't be scared. And I think part of don't be scared is don't be scared of doing the wrong thing. Keep going, because God's with you. And God will show you. God will show us to some degree. It's not going to be like I said earlier, you're not going to be like, oops, accidentally messed up. There's certain things that are very, that you'll just know. Or like, let me use another example of dating. So with dating, for example, if you're a Christian and you're interested in someone who isn't, well, first of all, you don't need God to show you and give you a sign, because that's already not biblical. Okay. So there's that. But also, I do believe that God gives us discernment, and God will give us things, and God will give us signs, and maybe not immediately. Maybe you don't see it later. Maybe you won't see it for like a few days or a couple weeks or a month, but you will see it. And when you do, you just got to have the strength to act on it, because you'll know. Psalm 23:4 says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of the death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You are with me. God is with us. God is in our hearts. God is there with us. God is walking with us every step of the way. Every step of the way. So just keep going. Keep going. 1 Corinthians 3:16. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? God's in us. Okay? God is always with us because God is a part of us. God's Spirit is in us. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Okay? So whatever it is in your life that you're worried about and that you're thinking, does God want me to do this? Does God want me to do that? Keep your faith strong and keep going. Look at Abraham, man. Abram, before Abraham, all that. He just kept going. He just kept walking. Just keep walking. You don't have to know everything that's going to go on in your life. You don't have to know who your future spouse is supposed to be. You don't have to know what your future career path is supposed to be, what that job that you're supposed to be doing. You don't have to know your exact calling in life. You don't have to know where exactly you're supposed to live. You don't have to know who all exactly is supposed to be in your life in any capacity. You can't know all of that. God knows all of that. But what do you know right now? What do you know is where you're at right now. So focus on what you can do right now. Take those steps right now and take those steps in faith right now. Just walk. Just walk. Okay? You can't, God is there with you every step of the way, and God will guide you and direct you. And whenever there are bad things that happen, whether we bring them on ourselves or they just happen because life is life and life isn't perfect, God will be there with us to get us through it. So I just think it's so crucially important to keep our faith like a daily, strengthen your faith every single day. Seek God every single day. God will not let you fail, essentially. God will not. Now, there's going to be certain things that you can fail at and that you can bounce back from, but God is with you and God will direct you and God will keep you on the path that you're supposed to be on. As long as you're seeking his face, you're not going to veer off his path, period. You're not. So that brought me a lot of comfort because it's something I always worry about and I've always worried about. And I felt like I needed God to show me a sign all the time. God, show me this. God, show me that. When what I feel now is that all I need to do is just seek God and keep walking. Don't be complacent. Don't sit still and expect God to do everything for you. You just got to stand up, take those steps. What can you do today? Keep walking today. Keep doing what you can. God is with you and God will guide you. As long as you're seeking God's face, you're not going to fall off that path. You're not. I feel like that in my own life, man. I've been like, wow, God really has been looking out for me because on my own, dude, I could easily fail, but I haven't. So anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. And in the meantime, go boom.